Hello viewers, Super GT here. Now we have the return of what I think is the best hopper in Forza Motorsport. The community cycled production. Here it is. And yes, you can see what it is. Everyone drives exactly the same car, in case you didn't know what it was. And what this does is it means it's all about the driver. It's all about the skill or the lack of skill of the player. Nothing to do with the tuning, nothing to do with the car that you've chosen. It's just purely down to how good or bad you are. Mostly how bad you are, but sometimes how good you are. As we rock the Zonda around Homestead. Now you know, the thing I love about this hopper, because everyone's in the same car, the racing's quite close, it's intense, it's fairly well balanced. They go for a savage Datsun dive bomb up the inside of this guy. He comes back though, kicking cones everywhere. This one wants to be a permanent resident of my car. Eventually kick him out. And up to 7th position. And this is something you're going to see a lot. You see 3 cars there all getting stuck on each other. And this is something I actually noticed quite a lot. Because, again, because everyone's in the same car, the racing's going to be quite close. People are going to be fighting quite closely. It's going to be quite intense at times. Especially on lap 1. Which we're on now, and I've been bumped into the left-hander here. A couple of guys again pushing each other wide, they're stuck on each other. As we rejoin here, just looking behind, and then we get stuck on each other like the strongest magnets known to mankind. And eventually, after all of that episode, I recover into 10th. So it was looking good there for a moment. I was in 5th or 6th, I think, and then get a little bit of a bump wide, and immediately got a lot of work to do all of a sudden. So let's try and do some of that work, shall we? So it's really good fun here. This hopper is something I've been waiting to see, because we did have the cycled divisions hopper, which he cycles through all the hoppers. Through all the different divisions. So you have to have a car for each division. When you're racing division, you don't want to race in. Not quite as good, but this is much better. Everyone's in exactly the same car, so you know exactly what the deal is here, as there's so many of us. There's about 8 of us all within about 5 metres of each other here, trying to occupy the same piece of track. I've gone down to 11th, I've actually lost out on this lap. So Ben Smith there looking up the inside into the hairpin, obviously a big choke point here, and there's lots of contact up ahead. It's not at all clean, but we are getting through. I suppose with the new collision assist, this is so, and again look at that, they're all just getting stuck on each other. People just not backing out. You know, when your car's like that, one of you's just got to give up, and just bail out completely. And coming through here, other guys wide up into 8th through the final chicane. Tricky little chicane this. As you kind of go over this back onto the oval. That transition can be quite difficult to get right. The car can react quite badly to that. So up behind Ben now, let's try and make our way past into turn 1, into turn 2, big braking zone this, easy to get wrong. So we've settled down now into 7th. Aerox Bobby out in the lead. Now something about this hopper is, well, this is where the big boys come out. This is where the proper big boys come out to play. If you join one of these hoppers, chances are you'll find someone who's involved in the Forza Racing Championship, who's a very quick player in the game. And that's good to see. This is where you can really compete against the best. So I went for a big lunge there on Ben up the inside, and then eventually, well, there was no contact, but he just drives wide, and I'm up into 6th place. Okay, that was a bit weird. Right, let's move on then. Trying to catch up with Epic Smudge as we cross the line to begin the 4th lap into turn 1, into turn 2, and he's gone a little bit deep, and by a little bit I mean a lot, and he's right into the wall. We're going to gain a position out of that, thank you very much. 3rd and 4th not too far away, 2nd and 1st a long way away at this point here. As a result of all the fighting, of course, you really do want to be at the sharp ends on the grid, so of course get a good lap time, and that will be the case for the next race, or at least get a clean lap, and you should be towards the front. So sort of a semi-move there from Ben, doesn't quite pull off though, and we keep the position for now, coming through the final chicane. I go through a little bit too hot, into the back of R Rocket, or double R Rocket 69, and I thought I was going to lose enough momentum to lose the position, but no, I'm going to finish 5th in our first race. So we move over to the Enquiries here at New Buy. Now the hard thing about this lobby is the fact that it's all stock cars, so there's no tuning involved. Every car is stock. This means we're dealing with stock brakes. You know, the brakes aren't the best, and brakes are normally the first thing you'd upgrade if you're changing your car. If you're tuning your car up, you normally upgrade the brakes. So we're dealing with pretty awful shoddy brakes, and that can be quite difficult, especially as well because we're not using the dynamic racing line telling us where to brake. So we have to kind of judge everything for new for the first time in every race. So I don't know this car, I don't know this track in this car, so it can be quite difficult. But then again, when you've got so many faster players in the lobby, you can kind of acclimatise yourself to what they're doing and kind of tag along. So in fact, we've got Williams Mitch here. He's in second place. You can just see him there. He finished third at all 3 events of Forza Racing Championship in 2018. So he's technically the 3rd best player in the game. You know, that's the kind of player we've got in here. So just to be on kind of a similar platform to him, it's quite good. Well, nothing happened there actually. I don't know what happened behind that penalty sign. Nothing, I think. So you can see here trying to go 3 abreast past the suck sand. There it is. The suck sand can really pull you off in quite a nasty way. Yes, it leaves quite a nasty feeling and a rash. Over the line we go. Beginning of the final lap, 4th lap of 4. It goes a little bit wide, and Eric's Bobby's going to come back for the cutback, and he goes back into 3rd. So good battle here. I spent most of the race in 5th, and then it wasn't until the last couple of laps where I guess I kind of got used to the car a little bit more. I began to get a little bit quicker and then begin challenging for 4th and 3rd now. Around the outside of Bobby, and it's not quite going to come off that move. So he resumes into 3rd, and again tried to go for that cutback here, receiving some taps from behind, which I'm not sure are helping, but we're going to get the momentum, are we? So once again, going past the suck sand side by side, not going to always end in nice fashion as we come through, and we leave each other enough space, bit of contact, but that's fine, and it's absolutely doable in this kind of lower class. And into this turn, well, I just send myself to the realm of shadows, unfortunately. So that race was a write-off. It was looking quite good, and then I completely bottled it. So we moved to a slow race, so in the Vauxhall Carlton this time, around Maple Valley. So these are the cars I would just never think to drive a car like this. But you know, when it's given to you in this kind of format, everyone's in the same car. It's kind of cool, and just testing yourself in different cars. So of course we had the Zonda, so a very fast R-Class car, but then at the same time you're racing in C-Class cars. It's a good challenge, as I almost kill SCT Unknown. But this is the point where the race got really interesting. Over this bump, the massive jump, and everyone's car kind of turns left upon landing, smash into Ben Smith, and the SCT driver does some somersaults in the air, like a semi-double twist with pike or something. Judges all give him 10 on the scorecards, and well, as a result I'm up into 2nd. So the car's not really reacting nicely to that bump. As we all landed, we all kind of shimmy to the left violently, and unfortunately some of them doing some break dancing for a couple of moments there. But their bad luck is our good luck. We're up into 2nd now. Going past Eric's Bobby, goes a little bit wide. I'm up into 1st place. Oh my god, what am I doing this high up? I think I'm so high up, I'm struggling to breathe. There's no oxygen up here. As we sweep through the S's here, so just finally getting used to the slower cars. I don't normally drive the slower cars. I think I'm more of a sort of A class and above kind of guy. But I suppose it's good practice, and it's always good to get better in the cars that you're not good in. At this point here, in 1st place, as a result of probably 30% skill, 70% luck, as we wind down the hill, coming into this big braking zone here. So Maple Valley's a cool track in the sense that you can run it in both directions, and it kind of flows quite nicely both ways. So that's an upside of this track for sure. And it's good to see it come back into this game. Although I do think it's too wide. It seems too wide compared to the Forza 4 Maple Valley, which was the best Maple Valley. So at this point here, you can see turn 1 gliding through there beautifully. Eric's Bobby can't do anything about that, and at the turn at the top of the hill, you can see here just gliding across the apex. We really are singing and dancing through this course right now, and there's not much that these people can do to keep up with the mighty Super GT. And at the end, it's going to be a glorious moment as we come across the line to finish in first place. It's a rare occasion. It's one that should be marked with a mass celebration around the world. Okay, but we can't dwell on that for too long. Straight to the next race, where presumably things won't be going so well. So we're going around Bathurst this time. F50 GT. Now, the last time I saw this many F50 GTs in one race, I was probably playing PGR 3. So it's good little flashback here as we get a bit of a tap into turn 2, a little bit wide, just grazed the wall. Lucky to not get completely spun around by the wall there. So in 6th, let's try to recover here some positions. We come up the hill. This is always going to be quite a perilous race. I mean, it's an extremely fast car. It's in P class, but it doesn't quite have sort of the handling and the brakes that your typical P class car has. You know, like your LMP cars. It's not quite on that level, but it just has ridiculous amounts of power, this car. So it always makes for an interesting race. Around Bathurst, Mount Panorama, we know how difficult the circuit is, of course, and especially this section here with the walls and the undulations, very, very difficult to get right. And we'll go back to the fact that, you know, this is probably most people's first time running this race, so we don't know this car around this track. We don't know the braking zones. We're all just guessing for this first time around, just hoping for the best. And Skyline there having a bit of a moment on the wall, grinding himself along it. I'm going to try to capitalise, maybe go after the second. Williams Mitch in the lead, already near enough 1,000 feet. He's just going to run off into the distance, presumably. So it's just a time trial session for him at the moment. It's coming through into chicane, look up the inside, smack into the back of Unknown. And Skyline brakes a little bit late, goes wide, comes back on. I just go around the outside of him. I'm up into 3rd. I suppose that is the upside of the new collision system. Sometimes you make a mistake, and luckily the other guy doesn't get affected by it too much. But this time, I'm going to have to slam him out of the way. And then out of the dust comes THR Skyline re-emerging once again. And he's going to have some revenge into turn 1. I go defensive. He gets a nice cutback, beautiful cutback. He gets to 2nd place. So I did defend, went a little bit too deep, and he got me on the way out. Beautiful move from THR Skyline. Goes a little bit wide. Am I going to be able to get the run up the hill? Not quite. So he keeps his position for now. I'm happy to be 3rd, and that's not too bad at this point here, especially with the level of driver we have in here. Some good players. So coming up the hill, turning in by that tree on the left hand side, and I've gone in a little bit late. Skyline just going to grind himself against the wall into the most unusual spin you've ever seen. Does a whole 360 after grazing the wall. Couldn't quite really gather what kind of physics were in operation there, but well, only he'll know as he's trying to recover from his dizzy spell. So up to 2nd somehow, really by virtue of just trying to keep it quite clean. And there's been lots of mistakes from others, so just trying to keep it. In many ways, that's kind of what you've got to do in these races. It's not always about outright speed, it's about keeping it clean, avoiding the trouble. And talking of avoiding trouble, I just don't do that here. I completely go into the trouble, which is the grass, and drive myself wide, get sucked off into the chase, and into this turn again. Just completely misjudged my braking zone. Just, I mean, it's just weird because I went around that corner a lap ago, and I got around there fine, and then now I made it even worse. On lap 3, well, you know, kind of similar mistake here. I was in 6th, and then I actually made that mistake, lost a position to FRF Stig, and another one. So we've got a couple of Brazilian players in there actually. Into the final turn, looks like I'm going to finish in 8th position. I think I am. Yes, I am. I'm not going to get any more moves here. So there we go. F50 GT, 8th position. We moved to. Honestly, this was a really crazy race, but a really good one at the same time. Starting 8th on the grid, we finished 8th last time. Starting 8th this time. Into turn 1, Watkins Glen. The NASCAR layout with the chicane. So we'll see how this one goes. A couple of guys there getting stuck against each other, going really slow up the inside. THR Skyline and the other guy quite slow, and crucially losing a lot of momentum there. And in the slower cars, it really is about momentum, keeping the car smooth through the turn, making sure you really get rid of any bits of oversteer or understeer, or you will get understeer, but any sliding of the car, really try to minimise it, get the power on early, and keep the car as smooth as possible. And that is the key to success, I think, in these slower cars. As Lucky Stock goes a little bit wide, on the grass almost, a little bit. I think the 2 wheels over the grass up into 5th. Williams Mitch there up in 2nd place. He's up behind TX3 Wesley, who's in the lead. So again, another very fast Brazilian player in the lobby. And I'm up behind another one here. RBM GUI 12 into the second to last turn. Nicely on that 300 board. Takes us into that corner perfectly. The Lotus Evora S. What you'd expect really. Great handling and good brakes. So the car really performing in the way you'd expect it. Onto the main straight. Grazing the wall with the guy ahead there. So we're just going to get the momentum, get the run to pull out to the side. Into turn 1 on the 300 board. We're just after. We're up the inside. We're going to get the move done. Into 4th place. The only way he can go is around the outside. So we've positioned our overtake very nicely. Now we can focus on trying to catch up with that group ahead. 3 fighting for 1st place. They may well be defending, fighting, losing time, which will lend itself to this group here trying to catch up. So as we wind ourselves forward a little bit, TX3 Wesley, not quite sure what's going on there. He gives up and Williams Mitch into the wall. So double whammy there. 2 of the best players in the lobby just sending themselves to the realm. And I'm going to benefit greatly from that as we go up to 2nd place. That was a weird little episode. So plenty of luck going in my favour here this time around. And in many cases that's kind of what you need. You need things to go your way. Because in a race so short, only 5-6 minutes in total, if you lose a couple of seconds from one little incident, that can be enough and you can't recover that. Because even if you're half a second quicker than someone, if you've lost 3 seconds on the first lap, you're not going to get that back. So the guys behind battling a little bit further round, lap 3 now, so pretty much halfway into the race. Ben Smith, he looks quite comfortable at the front. Go a little bit wide through the chicane, have a sort of a nervous twitch. Don't drive the line I would have liked. Ben Smith actually sliding through this long right, turning it into a Tokyo Drift session. So down to 3rd. So I could have gained on the leader there because he made some mistakes, but instead I made even more mistakes and I've dropped down further away and a position away. Okay, but we still have some time here to recover something. Perhaps at least 2nd, maybe 1st, because 1st not too far away and he is making mistakes, but it's not going to be an easy fight. We've got THR Skyline behind, so again another FRC player, and he's going to look, actually now I've defended it too late and I should have looked over my shoulder a little bit earlier, maybe covered it. As we go into turn 1, he's going to go up the inside, and then I'm going to try to go for the move on the way out, and yes, I've got the momentum, you can see there, which gives us now the inside line for the S's up the hill. So briefly down to 4th, but back to 3rd very quickly. Ben Smith all over the place up the hill. So he's going to be under pressure now from the Brazilian. He's going to be looking and forcing his way through up the inside. They're going to be going side by side into the chicane, which it really is not an ideal situation. Hopefully one of them bails out. At this point here, we've got Skyline on my outside as well. Skyline is, I think, just going to bail out at the last moment. Ben Smith into the wall, and the Brazilian is just going to get... Oh, it's going to get bundled wide as he just kind of got stuck on him and just couldn't get past. And well, another episode of luck as we go up into the lead of the race. Skyline trying to get away past a gap that is not existing. It's kind of blocked off the inside line. There's no way he's coming through. So I have one more lap to survive to get a win. Or will THR Skyline be able to catch up, because he is looking quick and he was trying to find a way past there. And through the final turn, a little bit wide of the apex, which isn't going to help. We'll use near enough all of the tarmac up to the wall, and with the gap there sitting at 50 feet as we cross the line to begin the final lap of the race, lap 5. As we go into turn 1, 200 board is our breaking point. We've pretty much hit the apex, a little bit wider than we might have liked, but it's good enough for now as we go into the S's. So the good thing here, you don't have to worry about the slipstream too much. Of course in this game it just doesn't really have much of an effect, as we do have a bit of a slide through that turn. He is gaining though. I can see that on the left hand side of the screen the number is getting ever smaller, down to 21 feet, down to 20, so I'm going to cover it off or go semi-defensive through the chicane. We'll just keep this gap, a little bit of grass on the way out, a little bit wide there, and he's going to have a potential move here up the inside. I'm going to move to the inside just to again, like the last lap, make sure he can't slam his car up that inside to get the space that he needs. So So coming up to the penultimate turn, just 2 turns left in the race. Breaking that 300 board, there it is, this is the first board that you can see on the right hand side. And it sets you up nicely into that turn. So using the power again, back over to the left hand side, 1 corner left to go. This one's going to be 1 on the way out of the turn. He isn't going to go for the move there. And we've used it nicely, we've got a back marker here. Oh my god, what is going to go on here? As he goes for the swipe, and he actually doesn't take me out, he takes Skyline out. Oh man, so unintended victim in that murder attempt, but I escaped with my life and with a race victory. So it was a fun race that I really enjoyed it, and overall really enjoyed the return of the cycle production hopper. So let me know your thoughts on the races, let me know your thoughts on the hopper. Thank you so much for watching, thank you for making it this far into the video, thank you for the support as always. I shall see you next time. Thanks for watching, goodbye.
Listen.